Alrighty, friends, welcome to my special show on Mana TV International. This is a very different and a unique and uncanny discussion about God. This is not a regular discussion like the regular discourses. This is going to be a very unique discussion, and you're going to find out how it is, what is going to happen in this episode. Even I don't know what is going to happen, what the conversation will be, and I'm going to tell about my guests. But let me read out what this title of the book is. I'm going to talk about the book as well, and as well the person, and as well about God. So this is called Message from God, Pradip Mukherjee, the human who brought the message of God to the humans. So we'll start the discussion. Welcome Pradip ji, and
Thank
welcome
you.
Falguni ji. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for coming for this interview. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Just on that note, I'm a little nervous because I'm talking to God. So we'll find out. My audience is eager to know, in your words, firstly, who is Pradip Mukherjee?
Pradip Mukherjee is a human who is no different from any other human, because every human has two very common characteristics. The first one is the human is scared, and the second one is human has a lot of negativity, and I am no different. So I am scared and I have a lot of negativity. So in that sense, as a human, I am not different from any other human, and that is who Pradip Mukherjee is.
Sure. Before going into the discussion, our discussions, tell me about your background as such. Our audience want to know. Then we'll go into some details.
Yes, my journey started in joining my father's business, and that became my passion, that became my profession. So I was in an engineering business, manufacturing engineering products, and then somewhere in the age of around 38 or so, one question started haunting me as to what truly is the meaning and purpose of life. And normally people have questions, but they do not pursue it. But for whatever reason, I started pursuing it. What is it that others have talked about the meaning and purpose of life? And I kept on reading books, I kept on going to people, I kept on talking with people, and this thing continued.
Thank you so much for giving a candid introduction of Pradip Mukherjee, one-on-one. As we spoke on the other day, finally the D-Day is here to speak to you. Tell me why you wrote the book Message from God, or God wrote it through you. Also read in the book that the human you're seeing on the picture
Is the face of
is the
God.
face of God. Few things here and there I was reading that he is made in the image of God. Can you tell us what is made in what is made in the image of God to our audience?
As far as the image in the book is concerned, which of course is my face, in this planet, first thing you have to understand that there was no God till 2015. We had someone who said that one is God, who said that one is the ultimate, who said that one is the one who should be worshipped. So this one actually kept on creating all religions and all spirituality. And if you notice, every human being either is trying to be religious or they are trying to be spiritual. Even those who do not believe in religion, they are proclaiming that I don't believe in God. But the point here is that proclamation itself brings them just on the opposite coin of the religion. So they are not going out of the religion. It is like the same coin which has two sides, one saying I believe in religion, the other saying I don't believe in religion. So I would say they all are religious. Even not believing in religion is a religion. And then there is spirituality, which says that I want to escape the cycle of birth and death. I want to become enlightened. I want to become liberated. So these are the two groups of humans that exist on this planet. For whatever reason, I neither went against religion, neither I went in favor of religion, and neither I found spirituality to be of any value in my life. It is not that I had not read about religion, it is not that I had not practiced something about the religious practices, but having done that, I finally decided all three, which is in favor of religion, against religion, and in favor of spirituality, none of them is for me. So that means I am the only person left who, when given a choice to choose God or to choose the one who created religion and spirituality, I chose God. The question would come, who are the other people who decided not to choose God? So I am the only person who was given a choice to choose God or the one who created the religion. This one who created the religion was the king of this multiverse. Since I chose God and I did not choose the king, therefore, this is the only face that was left on this planet that God said, I bring it on the book as my face. And why was there a need to bring this face? Because God found that people were not relating much to the word God, not relating much to the word Paramatma. So God said, let me give you one more anchor, a face. One look at the face and you are connected with me. One look at the face, you have liberation. One look at the face, you have salvation. One look at the face, this becomes your last life. One look at the face, you are now eligible for the grace of God. So that is how the face comes on the book.
Thank you. Uh, Thank you very much about being so clear uh, about the picture. And now that we have warmed up a little bit, just want to know a little bit about God. Uh, you said, I'm reading verbatim. In the West, God is portrayed as someone who judges you at the end of your life. In the East, God is portrayed as someone who fulfills your wishes and liberates you from the cycle of birth and death. True God is neither.
Yes.
How, I mean, your take on that,
You want to say a little more on this?
please.
Okay. The gods that humans have known up till now, to them, they went either for fulfillment of their desires or they went for wanting something. Now, this wanting something could either be about going to heaven, which can happen if your sin is somehow wiped out. So, this is called salvation. Or people would go to God in order to escape the cycle of life and death, because this was a life of suffering, and they would ask God to give them moksha. So in the East, people went to God for moksha, which is liberation. In the West, people went to God to escape the judgment day, which is salvation. And they both went to the same God, not the true God, but the king of this multiverse. That is why I have written that. They are not true God.
Understood. So I think you spoke about four gods, four kind of gods and things.
Yeah.
We'll go into a little detail later. But
Okay.
first, a question came in my mind that while you were writing the book, while God communicated uh, through you. Were you in touch with him? Did God have a face? Or, I mean, you, because in the book it's written that God is not formless. God has an image, actual or physical image, and you are made in his image. I don't know about others, but uh, can you make it coherent for the audience?
Yes. When I said that we are created in the image of God, I did not mean me in particular. I meant every human being, which means we have a shape and form, and we were created from the shape and form of God as the shape and form of God, which means God is also like us, having a head and having a humanoid body. Of course, not a human. So that is the answer to that question.
Like, is God here, or is
Uh,
inside us, outside, somewhere?
God is neither inside us, God is neither outside us, which means God can be everywhere.
He's omnipresent,
And
omnipresent kind of.
uh,
Can
I
you say that?
wouldn't put the word omnipresent, but all I am saying is God doesn't need to be either inside or outside, because this is something the king needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
God is in the universe,
Mm-hmm.
but we cannot see God, we cannot know God, we cannot feel God. Some people have feelings of the grace of God,
Mm-hmm.
but feeling the grace of God, having an experience of the grace of God, is not about knowing God or seeing God.
Understood. If God has a head, if he has a corporeal form and structure, what language does he speak?
Every language, because for God, language is not the issue. If God talks to someone who is an Indian, God speaks in an Indian language. If God talks to someone in Chinese, God speaks in Chinese language. It is not the language what God speaks, but the grace of God flowing shows up as a language in that person.
Like, does he have any mother tongue kind of thing, or just trying to be a
I understand
on the lighter side?
our
Yeah.
mother tongue is God's mother tongue. Or I wouldn't use the word mother tongue, that is the language God would use.
Uh, can we rather put it as if that, like, we are interpreting God's uh, like, is it the vibrations that you have heard and you have interpreted in English or
No,
Hindi or
no,
English, or
I have not heard the vibrations or anything like that. I hear very clear, or I wouldn't say hear, I get very clear thoughts,
Mhm.
which I then cross check as to whether it came from the God, whether it came from the king, whether it came from my mind, whether it came from an entity, whether it came from the spirit. So I have the ability to cross check all these things to discern that this is coming from God.
Great. So when people read the book, there are, I mean, you spoke about creation, how God had his sons like Kal and I think
Jyoti Niranjan.
Jyoti Niranjan, and then how they have violated the rules and things
They
like
went
the king.
against the will of God.
Mhm. So, so do people have to imbibe that, or is it enough to look at the
Do
picture and give their woes and their problems?
God has made it very simple. You see, first thing God says, you do not know me.
Mm-hmm.
So God says, I do not want your belief, I do not want your trust, I do not want your faith, I do not want your devotion, and I do not want your reverence. So God is very clear, God doesn't want all these things. Why? Because you do not know God. On the contrary, God says it will be natural for you to distrust me, to be skeptical, to, to have doubts about me. Because you are coming to know about God the way I am presenting God from a person who, in your experience, doesn't yet have a credibility.
Mm-hmm.
That being so, because I have not performed all kind of miracles, I have not parted the sea, I have not walked on the water, I have not healed tens and thousands of people. So I have not yet demonstrated one single quality that any other human doesn't have. So I have no credibility in the eyes of any human. Question then comes up: it is very natural for a human to distrust God the way I am presenting people God. So, what is the solution? God said, use me as a utility, use me as something that is going to serve you, use me as a product. You do not want, you means humans do not use God. Humans bow down to God. Humans beg to God. But that is not the relationship that God wants the humans to have with God. So, what God says is, you have pain, you have suffering. Two things. Say these things to this face. How long? 30 days. At the end of 30 days, prepare a report card. Did you get any relief in any area of your life? If you feel you never got any relief, drop the face. If you feel you got relief, continue talking to the face.
Understood. Just getting into some biblical terminologies now. Are you referring? Is the God you are referring to the same God that Jesus said, "I'm the Son of God"? Is that God, and God is
That is
referring the
the
same?
king. When Jesus said, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, so this Father is the king, not God.
Okay.
The king refers to those who fell, but king is the fallen God.
So is King like the fallen angel, kind of like
Yeah,
Lucifer or
it
somebody?
is, but not Lucifer. Lucifer is down the line. He is the originator of everything. He is the one who fell from the grace of God.
Can you tell me and our audience a little bit about the origin of God, if there is any? Like
We do not know the origin because he is the place from where it started. Now people ask me, what if there is someone above him? I say, I don't know, but I know one thing: up till now all the gods that you have known, this one is above him. So let us not talk about whether there anyone above him.
so you're saying that there is a hierarchy.
It's a hierarchy. It is a father, it is son, and from the son all the creations down the line.
So the Father is not God. The Father is the
the
King.
the
That's what he said.
father in the Bible is the king, but the king is the Son of God. So the God I bring forth to the humans is the Father, the
Because
only
in
one.
because in the Bible, or maybe if you take into consideration Hinduism also, in general, uh, or let's take Christianity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, or the Holy Spirit, or the Holy Grail, they say that they are one and the same, like in different forms.
That is because they do not have clarity. You see, they are trying. Everything in the Bible started many years after Jesus left. Much of it is written by those who were not with Jesus, and subsequently they were edited by Constantine, and it was further edited. So the point is, no one has access to the original stuff. So that being so, and I have nothing to do with being in favor or against that thing. It is only that you are bringing up that, and I'm speaking in reference to that.
Correct. So, are you in contact with God right now? Does God speak through you
I
sometimes
can
while you're giving your discourses?
I can be in contact with God anytime. But God doesn't gossip, God doesn't answer questions unless it is relevant for the work of God. So I cannot just ask God, please come, please come. Let me now ask you a question in order to impress this gentleman. Tell me about his past so that I tell him. No, I cannot do like that.
Okay. So, did God come right now through Pradip Mukherjee to circumvent all that people are believing right now, whether they are angels or archangels, or whether they are devatas or deities or whatever their belief system is it to directly have a direct pipeline with God, or
You
are
see,
we or are we evolving as human beings?
no, we are not evolving as human beings. And God basically came here to free the souls who are the children of God. That work got completed, but instead of going back, God said, since I am here, I will give some relief to people who are suffering and in pain. But God knows that most people will not come to God, because they are always saying, we have our God and we will not leave our God and come to another God about whom nothing is known. But if anyone comes, if anyone talks to this face for 30 days, let them prepare the report card and decide.
Definitely, I think my audience will scroll the link on the in this interview. It will be scrolling down, and I think they should go to the website and buy the book, or however it is. So when we'll come to the end of the interview, we'll talk about that. So we'll go into I mean, why you have written and so many other, like, the practical aspects of the book. But before that, uh, I mean, I'm not trying to pry with you. Just a casual question as such. Uh, I mean, I think God said that the human who He has chosen he doesn't have any talent, and he has his own fears, insecurities, and he doesn't even speak good English. But you're very articulate. How did that happen? Is it because of the grace of God, or?
It is because of the grace of God. Otherwise, I am not what I am in front of the camera in my real life.
How were you before God came into your life, like language wise, or your idiosyncrasies as a human being? How are you? Like were you
How
like
was
a,
I?
yeah, like
I
how do you
told
interact with humans? How was your life then? Like,
I was basically a trainer, and as a trainer, the biggest challenge for me was I couldn't stand in front of people. Which means if you give me 3-4 people, I would be actually running away. Why? Because there is always a fear of being judged, a fear of being ridiculed, a fear of being not accepted. So whatever these fears are, that stopped me from really communicating with people, particularly groups of people. One to one, I can still survive, but with groups, I'm kind of gone. My legs are shaking, my tongue has gone dry, my heart palpitation goes up, all those things that happen
even now, right?
even now. So even now, when I come on stage, everything is happening till God takes over, and then I'm no more conscious of my body, no more conscious of struggling. I'm in the
So
flow.
there's a point where there is a kind of a union between you and God, and God speaks through you, like you
Yes,
channel God,
yes,
like verbatim, like.
verbatim. It's a flow. Now I can be in the flow.
Yeah, that's why we kind of warmed up. I think that the warming up was for me, but
No, it's for me also.
so uh, so we'll talk about the deception.
Yeah.
You spoke about the game of deception began 12,000 years ago, and we'll go a little deeper into. I think we'll talk about this thing as you said that you sent, like, God sent Kabir as a human incarnation among the humans about 600 years back to India in the city of Varanasi. Why did he send Kabir? I know
The
they will read it, but we don't. I mean, people want to listen to you in the
uh,
interview itself.
it's just that when the souls were now wanting to go back home, and they were not able to go back home, that is when God decided it is now time to send someone to start the work of freeing the souls. And so Kabir was the first messenger who came with the message of God, but he had a huge problem. His problem was he had to go through the Guru Shishya, uh, what we call that parampara. And But in God, there is no Guru Shishya Parampara. But he couldn't open his mouth. In order to be accepted, he had to go through everything which the king had created. And in the end, he couldn't do the job that God wanted him to do.
Because my mind was like a little perplexed, because you said that God sent Kabir,
Ji.
and Kabir didn't have the, but you're saying that there was an intervention of king also,
Of course.
when Kabir was
Yes.
So when you wrote, or when God wrote that the most of Kabir's work was tampered, was it tampered by human beings or was it tampered by the king?
By the human beings, but basically by the king.
Through the
Through the human beings.
Because of late, two things are coming to my mind, because I'm in media. I keep
Yes.
keep track of a lot of things. I keep myself abreast of many things. One was like, I won't say it is science fiction, but I was kind of having a debate with a friend, and the other thing is mythological. One is not the movie, but way back we had that, like, I think Brahmaji spoke about Kalki coming and destroying all those who have done wrong to the planet. Is it all through the king only, or
It is all through the king. Every
how can you
avatar,
say that?
every avatar that comes through the king. Because I know everything about the king, everything that the king has done. For me, king, you cannot access the king, you cannot talk with the king, but I can do both.
And what about the judgment day, or like, is God going to show? So
No, God,
is it a fabrication? Is it a fabrication of the Christians or the king or whoever it is? Are those things going to happen, or
you see,
or it is not necessary to pay attention to?
many things are going to happen. But God is not going to go into all those things. God doesn't reveal the future. God doesn't talk about the future, and God is not interested in all those things happening. Because with God, God says only one thing. If anything happens, what is going to happen? You are going to die. But those of you who came to God, for them this becomes the last life. And when it becomes the last life, there is no reincarnation. So you have liberation. And there is no judgment. So there is salvation.
Just want to go into a little technologically advanced topic. Just the other day, I don't know how I stumbled. My friend sent me a video about AI, and it's not really about. I'm not talking about AI as a technology. They said that AI now, it may be the king or someone, but they're saying that there is something like matter and antimatter, God and anti-God. They're saying that now AI is going to have godlike powers. It's already, it has it basically, and the way it processes information and things, it's going leaps and bounds. About, yeah, be it bots or robots or anything. They're saying that AI is actually, it has a consciousness of its own and is actually manipulating human thoughts.
You want my take on
Yes,
it?
please.
First thing to understand is God does not much care about AI. God has nothing to do with AI. Everything this is about the king. The next thing is, yes, AI is becoming advanced, and eventually there is a possibility that one day AI can surpass the humans and control the humans. Third thing, does the AI put thoughts into the humans? It will put thoughts if we start integrating the chips into our biology.
Right.
Because that is their access on us. Minus the chips, they have no access on the humans. But the scientists are now telling people that in order to make you evolve, in order to make you more efficient, in order to make you more productive, take in the chip. It's almost like the chip will eliminate all kind of gadgets from your life, and you will have a real time interaction with the chips, with the implants, with whatever they will be putting in. Now again, it is the king who is motivating the scientists to do all these things. It's like machine control. Earlier also we had control that spirit was doing. Now AI will do. It's just that it is a way of reshuffling the cards. Ultimately, humans have always been controlled.
Right. So, so it's in a way AI is a curse.
Even before AI, humans were cursed.
Got it. Why did God come so late? After
Because
so
now,
much suffering happened, so many.
no, God basically has no what I call interest in human suffering and not suffering. God only came now because now the souls want to go. Up till now, the souls did not want to go back. The souls want to play the game of creation. But now, since they want to go back,
Are you talking about procreation or?
all creations, the whole universe is full of creations.
Correct.
So souls were playing that game along with the king.
But you said that the universe and the multiverses are created by the king, right?
Actually, universe and multiverse is not created by the king. They were created by God. But when king was pushed out, he was given 21 universes. So that is his multiverse.
Are you talking about the 21 islands or I think?
Let's just call it universe because we know what we are. We look out and we see some of a portion of the universe up to the Milky Way. We can't go beyond that. So God gave 21 universe to the king. God also gave building material. The building material are the 5 elements and 3 qualities. With these 8 things, the king created every creation that ever came made to happen, that ever happened on this 21 universe.
Why did he even create anything?
Why did the king even create?
No, like God.
Why?
Like I was fascinated by Albert Einstein's quote once, because now there's a discussion about God, so we can literally land any thought here. He was saying that I want to know God's thoughts. I want to ask you what are God's thoughts.
My question to Albert would have been, which God? Because there are many gods.
Right.
No one has a clarity about gods. No one has the clarity about 4 gods that I talk about, which originally was talked by Kabir. Unless you have a clarity of the 4 gods, you cannot even use the word God. And ultimately, when you have clarity about the 4 gods, well, the bottom one is deity, the middle one is the soul, the children of God, the one whom we call as the other one is the king. King also is a deity. And then there is God. So it's all deity and soul and only one God. But the king proclaimed, I am God. That's where all the confusion starts.
When they say that coming to the concept of Dvaita and Advaita, duality and non-duality, I think somewhere you wrote 2 and 1 or something. I kind of forgot, but I'll just come to the concept. We have been reading and it's gone integrally into ourself that God is non-dual, or maybe dual on earth. If he is non-dual, then why is there king and God and all these things basically?
But all these things you read from scriptures which were written by the king, or rather channeled by the king. And all those scriptures are true in a way, but in those scriptures there is no God. It's only king who wants you to believe certain things, and whatever even he wants you to believe, humans today have no clarity of it. If you are talking about this Advaita, it starts with it's like Advait and Dvait, non-dual and dual. Okay, and even in that non-duality, there is Advaita did not come from there; it came from the Upanishads. The Advait word came from Shankara.
Right.
Okay. Now Shankara did not write the Upanishads. He wrote the commentary on the Upanishads.
Yeah. So Viveka
And
Chudam. Yes.
yes, and from there the concept of non-duality or Advaita came. But down the line Ramanuja said that is wrong. So he said that is wrong. So he brought in something called bhakti. And down the line there was Vallabhacharya, there down the line Nimbakacharya. So all these were each one of them cutting the other one.
Correct.
But what was the foundation of all of them? It was the Upanishad. Now the question comes, one book, four people reading, and four people giving four different versions of what they think this book is. That means this book has not done its job. It should have been so clear that no one needed to interpret the book. But it was written metaphorically, and when you write books metaphorically, you are actually creating confusion down the line.
So what God has
So
written
this
in
book,
the book
there
is
is no
literal. It's not. There are no metaphors.
there are no metaphors. God said this happened. Now the point is, people will say, what is your proof? Then I say, okay, listen, there is no proof. This is a story. Because I can't give evidence.
So are you calling this a mythology or?
No, it's not a mythology. It's a revelation. But people will put it into mythology, another mythology.
Understood. As you said the other day, we can go on for several hours, but in the interest of time, we'll go into different topics. Like we'll go into the concept of the script. The other day we were discussing when we had a conversation as well, like the soul creates the script.
Yes.
Or the spirit also has some leverage over the script, but the human is a puppet.
Spirit executes the script.
Okay. Spirit is like the manager, and
yeah, you can say, like in a movie, there is a story writer. He writes the story. The director actually puts it into, makes a film out of it. He materializes the story. So spirit materializes the script.
Is the script the conspiracy of the king to evade connection with God, the human to?
Not that, but the conspiracy is bringing religion or spirituality into the script. That is the conspiracy.
So you're saying that, so you're refuting spirituality as said. So all these concepts have to be, I mean, you have to erase them from your mind to actually imbibe the love of God.
I'm not saying you have to totally remove everything. I'm also telling people, do not believe me.
Right.
But I'm telling them that I can say things that no guru has ever said. I tell them that I can say things. I have clarity which Buddha did not have, Mahavira did not have. And when I say Buddha and Mahavira did not have, I just am saying from what they have written, because no one knows what Buddha had clarity or not. From that I am saying Buddha did not have clarity.
Because Buddha, it's recorded that, or Mahavira, or these luminaries which you can count on your fingers, are enlightened. So that means
forget about Buddha, that's like too long back. Ramana Maharshi, current.
Correct.
Even he didn't have clarity. Big statement.
Right. Like the guy who, I mean, the person who said, who am I, right?
Exactly. And he put people on the track of finding out who they are. How can you even know who you are? By constantly questioning, who am I? Who am I? And then you go to the scriptures. What do the scriptures say? That you are not the one who in the waking state, you are not one in the dream state, you are not the one in the sleeping state, but you are the fourth. Now, how does that give you anything other than some intellectual blabbering?
So is Turiya also a fabrication of the mind?
No, it is not. It exists, but no one knows what it is.
So to get into the whims and fancies of spirituality, let's not call it spirituality, because I was always fascinated by the esoteric science. There are so many things like yoga and the system of the chakras, or and people have different modalities. They call it the cosmic lattice, whatever. Are they all true, or
I do not go into all these things because God says, I am not going to clarify all the knowledge that King gave you. I am not interested in what King has given you. I am only interested in one thing. You have pain, you have suffering, talk to the face. If the face delivers, continue to talk. If the face doesn't deliver, drop the face.
understood? So we'll get into literally. Actually, I think we are connecting logically every dot synchronistically. We'll get into this thing where you said to escape Maya and the Matrix. I think we have a thing, kind of a conceptual idea of what Maya is. They call nescience or illusion or things. But what is the Matrix?
If you have, since you have been into a little bit or a lot into spirituality, you also know the concept of Brahman and Atman.
Yes.
Okay. Now this Brahman is matrix and Atman is the spirit. Atman is the Ishwar.
Correct.
Atman is the Prabhu.
Even Atman is via the king only. That's what you said.
Yes, but what is matrix ultimately? Matrix is actually the mind of the king. And from the mind of the king originates the creations.
In the book, you also said that Atman is one thing. You said Atma is
Totally different thing.
Different, right? So can you give a clarity?
Atman is spirit which belongs to the matrix, Brahman. It rises as a wave from the matrix and it goes and animates the body mind. Once the body mind dies, this wave merges back into the Brahman or the matrix. But Atma is different, the soul. The purpose of the soul is twofold. One, writing the script, and two, putting the breath in that body mind that took birth.
Is it what they call prana also?
The prana is provided by the spirit to the body mind.
Can you tell it again? I mean, just to
you see, what does the spirit do to a human being? The first thing that the spirit does is it gives us a life force. Without life force, we cannot animate. The second thing that spirit does is looks into the script and creates the body and the mind accordingly. So if this body is meant to do great things like, say, climbing the Mount Everest, that kind of strength is given to the body. If this body mind is meant to be just a lazy person staying in one room, another kind of body is given to that body mind.
Is it like the rajas? Is it like the
no, it is
kind of a thing, or
whether it is rajas, tamas, sattva? The point is, these are all put into the body mind by the spirit depending on how the script is written. Because let's say my script says that I am going to be a great businessman, but I find no interest in business and I am going there and playing.
Right.
So naturally, the story will not be fulfilled. So the spirit has to ensure that I have a body mind which is conducive to being in business. And I think it like that. And I act like that. And it makes sure that the decisions I make are successful if I am meant to be someone who goes to the top of the chart.
Understood. So any couple of more things and we will call it a day. We'll go into the energy bodies. You said there are 5 energy bodies. Which one is of primordial importance? You said the 5th one, I think, is actually with God. The other bodies are tampered?
No, I said that there are total 11 energy bodies, but of that, in the human domain, at the most, 5 comes into play. But for most normal humans, only 3 come into play. If you become a very high master, someone who is spiritually very advanced, then 5 bodies will be activated. But for a normal human beings, 3 bodies come into play with 0 activation. You die, astral body goes into the ancestral world, mental body carries the baggage, goes into the next incarnation, and the etheric body goes to the king as food for the king.
Okay. So in a way, the king, I mean, king is like a villain.
I wouldn't label it as villain. Let's say he has compulsions, which makes him create all kind of pain and suffering for the humans, because no other species creates the food for the king, only humans.
What was his vested interest in doing all these things, the king? You told that, but to paraphrase it a little differently.
Vested interest of what?
Of the
Creating
king.
pain and suffering, or what?
Pain and suffering, or the cycle of life and death. And now you said that the souls want to go back.
Yes.
So how did that awakening come to the souls now? And how was
It is
the
just,
mind of the king?
it is just like you came from your home, and now after we finish the work, you will want to go back to your home. In the same way, the souls came from the home and they played around. And when the play was over, they had their fill. Now they say, we want to go back. King says, no, you can't go back. So that's when God comes in.
Great. Understood. So there was one more thing about, you said that this book is about, there's a book of healing, truth, secrets, salvation, liberation, and freedom. But I also read that salvation and liberation, I think they are part of the king.
Both are, yes,
right?
Both are that.
So are all these things from God also, or is there a different salvation and liberation by God?
Different. You see, the problem that happens if you become liberated in the domain or through the king, then you still have to continue in your journey towards the king for eons.
Okay.
You may not take birth, but there are other journeys you have to complete. But when God gives you liberation, there is no journey left to complete.
Got it. Is God a loving God? He's a compassionate God. He wants to.
In my experience, God is loving, but God is also non-loving. In the sense, you are interested in God, God is interested in you. You are not interested in God, God is not interested in you.
Okay. Because I think somewhere I read that what you want wants you. Is it like, if you want God, is it something like that? Or I think the allegory is not the same. Yeah.
With God, you cannot want God. With God, you have to choose God. But choice was not available to the humans till they came to know that there is a king who is imposing as God and controlling them and creating their suffering and pain. And that is why God says every God that you worship is the one who is creating your suffering and pain. But they are not God, they are deities.
Right.
Every deity that you worship, including Allah, including Jehovah, including Father, including Vaheguru, anyone, any religion, all of them is the king. But humans believe that is God. And so when I take across the message, they say, no, this one, we have enough evidence because it is in our scriptures. You have no scripture.
Right.
And because I have no scripture, and every scripture talks about a miracle that happened, and I haven't yet performed a miracle, so I cannot be the one who is coming from God. That is what the humans say. And I say, fine. Try talking to the face for 30 days about your pain and suffering. Forget about whether I come from God. Picture? Yeah.
I think I'm going to show it to the camera.
Even on the top, even on the cover, the same picture. Even in the healing card, because this book may not reach. So, and even the healing card will not reach. digital card, download from the website and talk to it.
Yeah, I think
That is the healing card.
can we show it
Yes.
to the audience? Okay, great. So it says alakgod.com. So we can
That is, yeah.
we can scroll it in the
Yes.
on the screen as well. And I think we are almost at the end. A couple of more things I wanted to ask. You said that before I ask about how people can talk to God. Actually, just wanted to give them a detailed orientation. Uh, you said that you cannot Xerox the book, you cannot photocopy it because God is not.
God will not be in it.
Why?
At the most, you can get some informations which, as such, is of no use, according to me.
Okay.
Why? Because God said so. Tomorrow, God says you can photocopy it and distribute it, then that will be so. Because everything is the will of God.
Mm-hmm. Understood. So now we'll talk about, there's a lot written in the end of the book. Like, you can talk about your diseases, you can talk any distress, any problem, or any
Yes.
celebration you had, or you can put your heart out. Just tell our audience, how do you do that? Is there any particular posture to do, or is there any particular words to do, or the words used in the book?
There is no protocol of doing it. There is nothing that you have to sit like this, or you have to do it before or after bath, or before or after food. No restrictions like that. Spontaneously your outpouring comes up. Speak to God. You are crying and speak to God. You have a headache, speak to God. And I'm using the word God. You don't like that God, speak to the face. Or you don't like the God because it tells that I'm talking about a Christian God, which I'm not, but use the word Paramatma. But you don't like the word Paramatma, that because that becomes a Hindu God, then move on to another thing, source, absolute, supreme.
Mm-hmm.
But even those things do not go into what are you interested in. I have pain, can I get some relief? Try out the face.
How would I want $1 million? Can I ask?
Okay. God will not fulfill your wishes, pain and suffering. Come back to that. Because your wishes will be fulfilled by your storyline.
Right.
Either positively or negatively. It can take away your $1 million and it can give you $1 million if it is written there.
I was reading that, like, if you can be bestowed with abundance, you can be bestowed with poverty, or whatever the
exactly
whatever your
storyline is.
Yeah, like the plot of the story, kind of, which cannot be altered. That's what you're saying.
Which cannot be altered because it was written by someone and you didn't write it. So what can you do to alter it?
Right. Because in these days there is a fad. I'll not say fad, because we are at the end of the interview. Because you said you can talk to the picture, you can talk to God, you can tell your woes, all that, your pain and suffering, your distress, to get relief or whatever, and whatever is appropriate will be given, or how whatever is in the mind of God. But these days people are, in the, I'll not say fad again. I think people want to manifest things. They're, taking visualization courses. They're trying to get into manifestation. They're, getting into different modalities as such. So, is that all wrong? Like,
no, it is not wrong. I would say it is a good time pass. And even if you manifest 5 things out of the 10 that you have made in your list, does that make you happy?
Maybe not.
Never. Look into the people who have those things. They are not happy. So why are you unnecessarily struggling to manifest?
So,
because everyone thinks if I get what I don't have, I'll be happy. I always tell them, look at those people who have it and you will find they are also not happy.
so wish fulfillment is not what.
No, God is not interested in wish fulfillment or manifestation or creating the future. None of these things.
Yeah. we are almost we are literally at the end of the interview, and we'll talk about uh, freedom finally, because ultimately I think people literally are seeking that, because I don't want to conclude without talking about freedom. Everybody, I think, the want for money, the want for I'll not say power, want for anything. I think at the crux of everything, I think people want to be free and happy. Is that indirectly urge to be in the bliss of God? Because you said that even the bliss body or something is also a little lower than who God is. Then
The bliss body,
finally tell the audience, why should they actually talk? Why should they talk to the picture? Is it at the end of the day, or some days, or after some time, to 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 merge with God?
no, no one is going to merge with God. You talk to the face because you go and talk to the pictures in your temples, to the statues in your
Right.
temples. It doesn't matter. Even a Muslim goes to the mosque and does that. A Christian goes to the church and does that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is going to their place of worship and telling God, please do something for me. Please give me this. Please protect me. Please, in short, they are only talking about their suffering and pain. And they are talking about their wishes because they feel if those wishes are fulfilled, suffering and pain will vanish. That doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because the script is there in the middle,
because
right?
it is the script. So, I'm giving them one more alternative. Okay, you have talked to that one in the temple. Why not talk to this and see? But I said, no wish fulfillment, yet see what is being delivered. Because everyone who is here in this room and thousands of people, their one tagline is nothing will change, but a lot will change.
What is that lot? What is that?
That lot is the way you experience life.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing will change, events will not change, the people will not change.
Mm-hmm.
But your experience of life will be such that you will have some ease, you will have some peace, you will have some freedom.
Is that what you call happiness or
It
joy?
is not happiness, it is freedom. In freedom, there is no happiness, there is no joy. It is just a clarity.
Great. So, any words of wisdom? Of course,
Uh,
we spoke so many nuggets, golden nuggets about this thing. I
I
think we went back and forth, in a kind of a very harmonious debate. But what do you want to tell my audience?
my last word to all the people who are seeing this video is try out the face as a utility for 30 days without going into a debate as to whether the face is God or not. Because in the end, if you get relief, continue talking with the face. If you don't get relief, drop the face. And that is a very simple message.
Thank you so much, Pradeep ji. Uh, Thank you.